Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG main stage. Game 2 of Jaedong versus Dia is coming up. Bit of old school kinslaying going on.
That's right, and so far it's almost the player who used to be the underdog when they're on the same team, but now he's kind of rising above and looked absolutely dominant that game 1. I mean, Jaedong, honestly, every engagement, even when he caught the sentries off guard, he didn't kill anything. He got like a Gazelle, and then when the army came across, it was just absolutely brutal.
I've got to say, it's unfortunate that Jaedong ran into a Protoss at this stage. It's been a matchup he's historically struggled with, and he's been getting better at it, but he's definitely much stronger in the other 2 matchups. We've heard about how legendary his ZVZ is in StarCraft 2, and he lives up to his name every time. But in this matchup, well, it's a hard road for him, and Dia is not messing around either.
No, he is not. He's not taking any prisoners. No Zerg left untouched here. Map number 2 is going to be the Akalon Waste, and this is a map that a lot of Zerg players love using the Swarm Host, and we saw Jaedong starting to get a couple out near the end there, but it was kind of, the game was already decided when that first Swarm Host came out.
It almost seemed like, that as the units were coming across the map, it's like, build everything I possibly can. And, you know, this one lone Swarm Host is like, guys, I really need some backup here. But we will see. Akalon Waste will be the venue for this encounter. And here we are, folks. Let's see what happens here. This fellow is already 1 game up in this best of 3 series, looking to impress in his first time on the MLG stage. To the southeast position in the blue trunks playing Protoss, STX Soul Dia. You know, it's very, very hard to sound threatening when you say the word Dia.
Not a very scary name.
No, but a very scary player. So I think it was all a ruse. His opponent to the northwest position. In the red trunks playing Zerg, he will need your support to come back in this series. Evil Geniuses, Jaedong! Well, what do we have here? We've got a 10-pool.
Jaedong trying to mix things up a bit here. You know what? He noticed that Deer scouted after Nexus in the last game. Deer didn't scout early, but Deer said, you know what? Last game I didn't scout early. Let's mix it up because he might try to take advantage of that. This is mind gaming and metagaming at its highest level here, mixing up even small elements of the build so far as your scout time and how you can get advantage of that. I mean, he spotted the temple, so he's just going to go Forge before Nexus, and wow.
Well, what do you do from that position? I mean, you've got to kind of continue with it. We saw the double hatchery cancel there to go all the way up to 12 supply.
You know, I would actually kind of like to see him just not build Zerglings.
Yeah, I would, and I think maybe that's why he did it, because what I noticed is usually you do that so you can get out the Queen and you can get out some extra links, like a couple of extra links. As it stands though, he used those 2 supply, those kind of fake supply, to build 2 more drones. So I have to think that he's already seen it coming. It puts him at a disadvantage already, but it's not like he's exposed at the end of the day. Yeah. You can come out of that and you can play a regular game. And that's exactly what he's doing. He brings out 4 links for map control, and maybe, just maybe, Dia over-commits to his defense. With links now spotted on the map, he says, oh, well, you know, do I need another cannon down? Should I play more defensively? I don't know, though. I don't think Dia's the kind of player to fall for that.
No, in fact, he's already circling his probe behind the Zerg to see if any additional ones are reinforcing behind those 4. Now, the interesting thing is, even though Jaedong went Temple and Deer Scala, that the expansions are almost exactly identically timed, and that is, in a normal game, often Protoss actually has a slightly faster Nexus than the Zerg hatchery. They can block the hatchery. So Jaedong's actually looking very good on that front, but of course, there's the worker differential because he cut some drones early on. Deer has about 5 or 6 extra workers on him. After the first inject takes in, he should be able to catch up, but he's just a little bit behind right now.
Yeah, certainly. If Dia had overcommitted to the defense, then maybe. It's nice that at least he said to him, look, you've got to put your Forge down first, you've got to build a cannon first. You're not allowed to put your Nexus down as quickly as that. I won't let you do it, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't exactly the best trade Jaedong could have hoped for. But not all in by any stretch of the imagination. There's still plenty to play for. So the gateway comes down and looking to try and work that off. And interestingly enough, we do have Jaedong actually working his way through the back rocks. That is within sight range of Dia. So if he happens to look in that direction, he's going to say, oh, right, okay, you hit my back rocks. I'm going to need to do something about that. But he hasn't responded yet.
I mean, what's he really going to do at this point? Of course,
not much.
It's almost actually better it's in a side range, maybe, because if he can get Deer to freak out and think there might be some all-in, it's going to abuse the fact that there'll be 2 entrances.
Yeah.
He can try to get some overcommitment going on here, but Deer's not going to fall for any of that. He's just going to probably wait for a Zelda or a Stalker and send those out to deal with those Zergans.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't send the Zealot out right now because he doesn't know whether or not there's actually more lings on the map. But as soon as he gets a Stalker out, as soon as that Cybernetics core finishes, then he can just kind of stop it. Admittedly, it's going to take quite a significant amount of damage to those back rocks. It can be risky. Probe now making its way in once again, trying to get some scouting information. It looks like it is going to get that, and the follow-up from Deer is actually going to be a Stargate play.
You know, he tried to see if there's a third hatchery down, but Jaedong actually didn't show him that drone. He didn't build the hatchery until after the probe went through there. So Deer has still have to be a little worried about some potential all-in. He wasn't able to get into any of the work lines, so he couldn't get a count on the drones, and he couldn't see if there was gases or not. So Jaedong did a very good job of, even though the probe kind of went to a lot of places, denying it too much vision.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter how far you travel, it's what you actually see when it comes to those scouts. We're going to try and get that surround on the Zealot. He should be able to do it. There's nothing else on the map to support it. Even with slow speed, he will catch up. Finally, we see a cannon going down because those rocks have taken significant punishment. So some defense has to be put up. You can't just let that go. Not for free.
Exactly, and this is also really due to the fact that the probe couldn't identify the fact that Jaedong is building nothing but drones, really, except for a few Zerglings. There's no real gas army coming out from Jaedong.
The cannon's not in range either. It can only actually hit the rightmost Zergling, so I think he's just going to stop now and just leave it there for later.
Deer going up with a pretty standard kind of middle-of-the-road strategy. We go get the Stargate and a Robo so you can kind of deal with whatever threats
just
coming at you.
Build everything. That'll work, right?
Exactly. That's a good Protoss methodology here. And well, it's also very valid against an opponent. You haven't really gotten scouting information. So while Deer had a small advantage early on, I think the game's kind of very even out, just given the fact that he's had to get these extra cannons. He's been in the dark so long. Jaedong's done a great job of denying him information. While Jaedong's been just doing a very standard macro game with the third base, then the layer and the double evos. Deer hasn't really figured it out quite yet.
No, and that's perhaps the edge that Jaedong really has here. Because he's not really been taking any damage, he does now have that worker lead, and he's powering forward quite nicely. Now, we've got the range upgrade coming out here, and I imagine we will see the Carapace upgrade to follow that up. He does have the gas for it. The question, I suppose, then becomes what ends up happening. If he goes Hydra heavy again, I mean, there's already Colossus tech on the way.
He's getting the upgrades in that direction. He's going to have to find a way to deal with the Colossi. Either maybe a tech transition, or he's going to have to go straight to Hive, or I don't really think Corruptors are a great option when there's Void Rays in the field already. So Jaedong is getting a Hydra Den, like you said. He's also getting both the upgrades for it. I don't think he has a Roach Warren yet, does he?
As far as I'm aware, no, he does not. I don't think so. No, there's no Roach Warren on the field at all. I mean, pure Hydra can work for a time. It basically works until there's Colossus out, and then it dies in a horrible, writhing, burning mess. So the last thing you want to do is stay on that for too long. But it could give him an edge, at least for a while, that would actually let him transition through to some kind of Hive tech, and the Infestation Pit is already going down there. We don't generally see Hydra Infester. I mean, that's not really something that makes a lot of sense. So I imagine he is trying to get through to Hive. But, I mean, that's what he tried to do last game, and it didn't get him anywhere.
That's right. I mean, Deer kind of hit him right before that could really tech kick in. We can see this Hive going down to 10-minute mark, and with this type of Hive timing, it will be up in time to deal with a 3 Colossi push. In fact, Deer's taking the third base, so he'll have Vipers on the field by a 13-minute mark, and it's pretty hard for Protoss to do any type of Colossi-based attack off 3 bases before that time. Now, if Deer can identify this, he could try to put together that Blink Stalker timing he used last game. But given the fact he's already invested some resources into Void Rays, he ended up getting through.
So close. Almost had that one. That would have been nasty. But even 3 Hydralisks out up against those Void Rays. And I think that the idea that we've been seeing lately with Void Rays being used in almost all matches against Zerg is that Void Rays just beat everything Zerg's got. Not true unless you have enough of them. You can't just hit a button and do extra damage to Hydras. That doesn't actually work. That only does extra damage to armored units. Common misconception. In fact, I mean, Dia's actually been using it on Overlord, so I wonder if he even knows that. But it's almost like a habit that you just hit that button. It makes you feel better. It looks cooler. But he doesn't have enough Void Rays out to counter a heavy Hydra force at this time.
No, not quite yet, but he's adding a lot more gateway. He's going for that blink and the weapons attack, so he looks like he's going to do some type of Colossi blink stalker attack. He hasn't made any more Void Rays past the first two, so really focusing on the ground force. And Jaedong's going to need to get at least 2-3 Vipers out to deal with this army. I mean, Hydras versus Blinkstalkers, it's down to micro and it's down to positioning.
Yeah.
But if there's Colossi mixed in, your Hydras have no chance. So you've got to get those abducts off first.
Exactly. I mean, to me, this is a much better game from Jaedong this time around. We saw that attempt to the early Hive transition for the sole purpose of getting a Roach Hydra Viper Force, which is a very strong army. But he wasn't allowed to do that because it was this big Stalker Sentry Immortal timing that hit him as he was trying to get that done. Now, as Colossus timing is a little bit later, there will be some Abducts available. He's draining now to get them, but will he be able to pull them into position? Can he get that many Roaches out in the field in time? Looks like he might be able to. The third Colossus joining in now, so the attack is about to begin. With 2 pylons placed in position, the Mothership Core there to recall out as well. Admittedly, that core can get sniped very easily, can even be abducted and killed off, so recall is not available. So this is a strong attack from Dia, but it's risky.
And it very indeed is. Now, this is a very good positioning, except Mothership Core gets taken out first.
All right, that's what he wants to do. He needs to get that out of the way. That's double Yonke coming in here on the Colossus. One down. Second one does not fall. Another one coming in as well. Down goes another Colossus. Jaedong is smashing this army here. He has a lot more on the way. If he can get his Roaches into range, he has a supply advantage, but right now, he's stuck behind force fields and time warps.
Oh, man, absolutely perfect control by Deer there. Just a couple of force fields prevented Jaedong's forces from even getting to the battle. And yes, he took down 2 Colossi, but by the time he did, he had lost so many units. The time warps and force fields from Deer are just absolutely stellar. And Jaedong is now on the back foot. He's trying to rally reinforcements, but we've got even supplies, and so much of Jaedong's supply is being in units currently produced.
Colossus is going to go down again, which is always nice, but it's Blinkstalkers versus Roaches. That is an ugly, ugly battle. You never want to take that, and that's why, as Dia smashes his way through into the natural expansion, this is a dire position. However, Jaedong is able to bring in Hydralisks from the back, continually riling them in there. He might not have enough units to hold up against this. He's trying his best to do that. A Colossus comes in from the side. This could be the nail in the coffin here for Jaedong.
Oh, there's one Viper getting energy. Doesn't have enough to get that abduct off. There's so many Stalkers. There's no Hydralisk left. It gets abduct, but the Stalkers have already blinked in to cover the Colossus.
It's too late. The Lings kill it. You don't often see that. He's trying to hold on as best he can. Lings come in to try and deal with these Stalkers that take a lot of damage. More rallies in come in, and he's trying to hold on here, but there's another warp in behind it. This is a desperate defense right here for Jaedong. Will he have enough to make this work? More Blink Stalkers on the way. He needs more Speedlings. He needs more Hydralisks and Queens. He has a little bit of time here to make that happen. There's nothing in production here for Dia. He doesn't have any more Colossus either. It's all Stalkers all the time right now.
Deer's really putting on the pressure. He smells blood in the water. Jaedong's desperately trying to defend. Speeding
another Colossus. Where's the Viper? Does he have another Viper? He doesn't. That Colossus could be the thing which takes him out of this game at this point. He has no more Vipers to pull him in there. Hydralisk dies so fast to that. Lings dies so fast to that. If that Colossus wasn't there, maybe, just maybe this would have worked. But as it stands, Dia smashed his way through. GG 2-0. Sweep there for STX Seoul Dia. Very convincing victory.
Wow. This guy's known as being aggressive. You can see why his micro never falters for a second. Even facing Vipers, even facing a Concave, he knew exactly where to put the time warps into force fields. Excellent, excellent example of how to control Protoss army there by Deer.
And Dia is the slayer of crowd favorites at this stage, and he is not messing around at all. But Jaedong, of course, knows he's fairly beaten, and he's a professional. He's not too concerned about that. One way or the other, though, Dia is putting on quite a fantastic performance here at his debut MLG.
I mean, I think most people could say right now he's in winners round 6, I believe. That's the winners semifinals. He's in the top 4 of the winners bracket after this match. And he's had maybe the hardest road there as well. I mean, round 2, the SDC. Round 3 was that. Round 4 was QXC, who had just taken out Grubby on the way. He'd taken out Tilly, who showed great performance on the way.
And he dropped a map to QXC. Yeah. QXC was not messing around there. He did exceptionally well, and now, of course, has to take out Jaedong as well. Very impressive performance here by Dia. His play is absolutely phenomenal. It's crisp, it's aggressive. He doesn't just sit back. He likes to get in there, and he's got the control to make that work as well.
I mean, the number of times you see this guy even click an unnecessary force field. It's crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
There's so much going on there, and every force field was so perfectly placed. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, this guy is the real deal here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right. Any concerns that we had about some of the Kesper players coming over, maybe being affected by the travel, maybe just not being able to deal well with the jet lag or anything along those lines? No, they don't care about that. And Deer is just showing how fantastic his play really is, and finally really getting a chance to shine on a big event stage, being a consistent performer within Pro League, but now gets to play an individual tournament. Say, hey, you know what? STX Seoul has more than just innovation.
That's right. It's for these guys, all the opportunities. I mean, there's the Pro League. They can always show their skill, and they have some matches there. WCS Korea, you know, if they have a bad day, they may not qualify. They could be the best player, but you know, you lose one best of 3, you're out.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So every single chance they get, they want to take it, and he had one. I mean, Kesper said that they paid for 3 flights over here. They had a little internal tournament, and he prevailed against everyone in
That
Kesper.
tournament was ridiculous as well. We should point out just how ridiculous it was. And so many top-tier Kesper players turned out for that tournament, and the 3 that made it through are on this stage. And now they're facing off against people that probably couldn't have handled that tournament. So it's stacked against the guys who have to face off against these Kesper pros.
It really is. These guys have so much talent. I mean, everyone's like, where's innovation? Well, he was in that tournament. He lost in the first round.
Yeah.
To a Zerg called Sacracy.
It's like innovation lost in the first round of that qualifier. And these are the guys that got through the whole thing. It's kind of scary, isn't it?
It is, and I mean, everyone was worried when he had to go up against Stats, and was like, these are 2 guys who made it through.
Yeah.
No problem against Stats. And
Yeah, I actually was quite one-sided, surprisingly so. I watched that and I'm like, wow, I expected that to be even. Nope, not at all.
So match against Jaedong, same thing, man.
Yeah, it was very, very convincing. Obviously, we know that that's Jaedong's weakest matchup, but Deer just went in there mercilessly. He really, really did. Very well calculated play.
It was just. Looks like we got Wheat with the winner interview here with the man himself. We just saw him demolish Jaedong, of course. A great run from Deer here.
Already.
Take it away, Wheat.
Thanks, guys. Of course, I'm here with Smix, our translator. Thank you, by the way, Smix. You've been doing a wonderful job all weekend. And, of course, the winner of the last match, Deer. How about a round of applause? So, Deer, congratulations. You make it one step further. I actually want to ask you, is this the first time you've been in the U.S.?
이번이 미국에 처음 온 거예요?
네, 미국에 처음으로 왔어요. 네.
Yes, this is my first time in America.
So, how has your experience been, and are you enjoying MLG?
일단 미국 처음 온 거로서 기분이 어떠고 MLG는 또 어떠세요?
지금 굉장히 흥분되고 너무 정말 기쁘고 이렇게 계속 이겨서 더 기쁜 것 같아요.
It just makes me feel excited. I'm so happy, and now that I'm winning, I'm even more excited and happy.
Absolutely. Well, you're making a lot of people excited here with your play. You know, this is a much different format than what you're probably used to. How do you feel about the bracket, playing? Are you comfortable in a bracket where you're just playing all your games through?
이 대회는 한국에 있는 대회보다 많이 다르잖아요. 근데 이것도 편한지 아니면 한국에 있는 대회가 더 익숙한지?
한국에 있는 대회는 좀 준비를 많이 해서 가는 건데 이거는 약간 기본기 위주로 하는 거여서 거기다 제가 체력적인 부분이 약간 후달리는데 네, 좀 체력적인 부분에서 좀 많이 안 좋은 것 같아요.
So I guess in this tournament, the main thing is you really focus on the fundamentals that you have, because you don't know who you're going to play like you do in Korea. So I feel like it's really testing my stamina and endurance as a player. But yeah, I think if I can work on that, then I'll be able to do a good job.
Excellent question to a terrible, or it's excellent answer to a terrible question. Now, I want to ask you, you're either going to go up against Polt or Naniwa, the winner of that matchup next. In your style, in your play, would you rather play versus the Protoss or versus the Terran?
이제 최성훈 선수 아니면 나니와 선수를 이제 만날 건데 누구를 만나고 싶으세요? 테란 아니면 프로토스?
I want Naniwa.
No more questions. Deer wants Naniwa. One more time, give it up to our winner, Deer. Thank you very much. I got more StarCraft 2 action coming at you live from the StarCraft 2 stage. Let's throw it back to the casters at the desk.
There you heard it, man. He wants Naniwa.
He wants more PvP.
He does. I mean, watching him play against stats, you can blame him. And in fact, PvP I think is his best matchup in his Pro League stats as well. So an absolute PvP monster. You know, if I was Nano, if I got through Polt, I'd be a little worried.
Yeah. We're going to be having a look at yet more PvP actually on the stage, because we do have coming up for you Hero versus Root Sage coming up after this break, folks. This is MLG Anaheim Spring Championship. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.